everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Kavanaugh's Corner. Just want to say thank you for coming back to the channel. Today I'm going to be taking a look at a series that I have been heavily influenced by for quite a long time now. And funny enough, this has been a series of movies I've been wanting to review for a long time, so I'm glad I get to finally do it. The first one, of course, I'm going to be talking about is Alien. The Alien series has been going now since 1979, and I think it's kind of amazing that we're going to get another Alien movie in just a few weeks, actually. We're going to be getting Alien Covenant, which is going to be coming out very shortly. Again, directed also by Ridley Scott, also another absolutely amazing director, and whose fame was catapulted by the first film of the series, which I'm going to be talking about right now. Alien is a groundbreaking sci-fi horror film, and it really did kind of put sci-fi on a level where Star Wars made it like serious business to be sci-fi, and then Alien kind of made it into like an art form. Ridley Scott's direction in this movie is basically perfect. For a director that really kind of came out of nowhere. This guy was just, this guy does stuff in this movie that is just phenomenal. And I think, honestly, if it wasn't for Ridley Scott, we probably wouldn't have an Alien series. He is really the driving force behind how good this movie came out. I mean, this is just a phenomenal film. And it really still scares the shit out of me. Still today, I rewatched this very recently in anticipation for this review, and I have to say, the movie still works, and it works well. The score by Jerry Goldsmith is one of the best scores maybe ever, and it's very minimal at first. Most of the movie goes by without even really knowing what the heck kind of score this movie has got. It's a very haunting, very kind of electronic / orchestral kind of score, and it is beautiful. I mean, I really love the score of this movie. This is one of the few scores where I would actually buy it and have it, just own it separately. It's that good. Now, funny enough, I want to talk about the two versions of this movie. I'm not going to be going into the plot of this film. If you have not seen Alien by now, I can't help you. You need to see this movie. The crew gets picked off one by one, and as slowly as the movie goes on, you start to realize who the main protagonist is. And it ends up being kind of surprising if you don't know who it is. At this point, again, if you don't know it's Sigourney Weaver, I don't know what you've been doing with your life. But anyway, I think the two versions of the film that are available right now on this Blu-ray set to my right here, there's the original theatrical, and then there's a director's cut. And the director's cut only came out, I want to say, probably about a little over 10 years ago now. It's somewhat recent. But I have to say, I'm actually not very fond of the director's cut of this version. It's not bad. I do enjoy what it adds to it, but it doesn't add anything, in my opinion, that's absolutely mind-blowing. In fact, the scene that's added to it near the end of the film actually kind of ruins the overall evolution that the alien goes through, especially in the next film, because they weren't actually planning on making a series at this point. So it just kind of goes against what Aliens shows about the aliens. So I'm not fond of the director's cut. I think it's a good version of the movie. I think it's a nice alternative version, but honestly, you could watch the original theatrical version and be totally fine with that. I think the film's atmosphere is really something else, too, in this film that really just does wonders for the movie. I mean, the sets that you see, whether it's the planet they land on, the actual Nostromo, the ship that they're on during the film, I think it's amazing how they managed to get that. That atmosphere, and also it's kind of funny that after this movie was made, not only were there a lot of Alien ripoffs, but there was also quite a few movies that had to have a strobe light in them. And I think that's hilarious. For about like the whole run of most of like the early to mid 80s, every horror movie had to have some kind of use of a strobe light, especially if it had sci-fi aspects to it. Everything had strobe lights after this movie, which is just hilarious. But it's just, I guess that's just the influence this movie had on the film society at that time. But the other thing I wanted to talk about is how the alien in this movie, I want to talk about just the alien. And the alien, I think, or as they later name him in the next film, the xenomorph, I think the xenomorph is, in my opinion, I think it's the scariest movie monster of all time. And I know that's a really big kind of thing to put out there, but the alien scares the shit out of me. And I think that has a lot to do with the design by H.R. Giger. I think Giger's design of the alien and the metamorphosis it goes through in the film is so weird. And I think that weirdness is something that gives the movie an edge, and it gives the alien an edge. It makes it not only visually creepy, because, you don't really see the alien very much in this movie. He kind of, Ridley Scott kind of does the less is more approach in this, and I love that. Because if you see the alien right away, and you kind of do see the alien right away, but not in the way that you think, I think the alien is psychologically creepy as well as visually creepy. And I think that's the thing that I like about it, is that the alien literally gets under your skin. And the fact that, like, you can't control something that you're pregnant with is something that's scary to men and women. And the fact that that monster is birthed by its own accord and then becomes a killing machine with acid for blood. This fucking thing is crazy. That the alien is, like, still to this day scares the shit out of me. And after I watched this movie for the first time when I was much younger, I had nightmares for weeks. Weeks. The only other film that really scared me as much as this did when I was younger is The Exorcist. And I still say The Exorcist, in my opinion, is the scariest film ever made. But this is an extreme close second. And because of that, because of Ridley Scott's direction, the atmosphere, the set design, Giger's design of the alien, the cast in this movie is unbeatable. Of course, Sigourney Weaver and Tom Skerritt are just awesome, as well as, there's so many great actors in this movie. Yaphet Kotto is phenomenal in this. And, of course, John Hurt, who we lost last year, a great actor who we lost way too soon. We miss you, John, and you gave a performance in this movie, and you made this film literally unforgettable because of your big scene, I should say, without giving anything away. But because of all that, I can't give Alien any less than a 5 out of 5. It is a perfect sci-fi horror film, and it literally laid the groundwork, it laid the foundation for what, horror movies could be, and especially what sci-fi horror could be. So definitely a basically perfect film. I don't really have much nitpicks except for the fact that the director's cut adds a few things that I don't really think are necessary, but that's about it. Before I end the video, I wanted to kind of add this little addendum to this video because I know people are going to say something about this in the comments, or they're going to mention this at some point. But I know I'm doing this series at the same time as another very popular YouTube movie critic, and I wanted to say that I was actually planning on doing this review series for a long time before this other critic started doing his. And I actually filmed the video you just watched actually before the other film critic posted his. But sadly, I didn't get a chance to edit it until very recently. So I'm filming this at the time of me filming another review in the Alien series, but I wanted to let you guys know that I had no intention of aping or ripping off the other film critic that's doing his review right now. And I think this is actually kind of a good thing because now you get two people's opinions on the same movies. But I'm not trying to cash in on his following or anything like that. I actually put out a video weeks ago where I said I was going to be reviewing these movies, and that was long before this other film critic even decided to do this review series, I guess. But anyway, please tune back in to the next part of my Alien review series, and we'll see you then. Good night.